What's going on, my friends? This is Dave Sharpe. Welcome to Wake Up Legendary. Today we have yet another fantastic guest, and as you can see from the headline here, we're going to talk about how this guy launched his business from a hotel in Thailand. All right, so if you guys ever wanted to, potentially launch or even work from around the world, which is something I was talking to somebody about yesterday. This woman was or is approaching her 60s. She says she wants to be able to, after some time, obviously not immediately. She's very clear that this is a business, not a magical money machine, but after some time to be able to work less hours and have the ability to be able to actually have time freedom. What does that mean? Do what you want. And I added that the beautiful thing about this business, which I've experienced, and so is our guest who we're going to talk to here in a second, to be able to work from anywhere. Now that's kind of a mainstream term now, right? Work from home, work remotely. But we've been doing this for a while now. It's not a new concept for us. So let's hear from the man himself. Johannes, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you very much, Dave, and hi to everyone who's watching. I'm very excited to be on the show. I'm a bit nervous, but I've had so much value from your shows. When I was in the middle of building my business last year, I watched this every show. So just thank you, Dave, to what you've been doing. Thanks to Matt and everyone who's working on this show, and to everyone who's been on this show as well.
Hey, man. This show is nothing without people like you. So thank you for being willing to come on. And after so many months or however long you've been watching and sort of taking action and putting into practice what we talk about, now to be able to come on and share your experience is kind of like the epitome of why we do this show. So
yeah, just a quick story, if that's okay. As I was watching this almost every day, I was walking outside, and I would actually imagine myself being on this show and having conversations in my head where I was sitting with you, and you were asking me questions on how I, have succeeded with what I have succeeded with right now. So, it's kind of a dream come true, and it's kind of surreal to actually be sitting here with you right now. So, I'm grateful to be here.
Well, how does that feel? I mean, you say it feels surreal, but I mean, to have visualized something and for that to have actually now be happening in this moment. Of course, I invite you to take the moment in, but tell us a little bit more about how that feels.
Well, it took 1 month before I actually got on the show now, before he first contacted me. So, I've had time to prepare myself, and I've been looking forward since, you actually contacted me, and I was looking forward to this moment, in the middle of last year. So being on this show is, I feel kind of starstruck in some way. I don't feel ashamed saying that, because you have been a role model for me, as well as Matt and everyone who's been on this show as well. As I said, I've gotten so much value from the people being here. So it's kind of humbling to be here, and I just want to deliver what the value I can. Hopefully someone actually gets some value out of it. So.
Well, I'm sure they will. I'm sure they already have. I know I have. Just the humility, that is, it's not required, but it's certainly having humility, having gratitude, meaning being able to see and appreciate the small wins, being able to take in the moments that you've actually maybe not achieved your big goal, but I mean, you've hit milestones. I mean, both the results that you've gotten in your business so far, being asked to come on a show like this to share your wisdom and your experience. These are milestones, and they, they are. If we choose to see those, I talked a couple of days ago with a guest about being able to be grateful for those milestones. These are really the secrets, if there is a secret. These are really some of the most potent and powerful secrets that allow us to, turn into the people that we want to turn into, become the best version of ourselves, and certainly share a positive and valuable vibe with people. Because, after all, at the end of the day, we are dealing with people here. This is about psychology. It's about dealing with our own psychology. It's about dealing with other people's psychology. And that was something that in the questions that we asked you, you said, hey, I can talk about Facebook ads. I can talk about, or excuse me, Google ads. I can talk about Facebook groups. But you said the psychology, the mental aspect of this game is really what people need to hear. It may not always be what they want to hear, but it's what they need to hear. So why do you say that? And what is your experience with having that realization that that's the most important part of this game?
I feel grateful because I was actually in personal development, to keep it very broad, before I started my online business. So, I was working a lot on my mindset. And, it's kind of a funny and sad story at the same time, because I got into personal development from a breakup. So I started learning dating advice and stuff like that. But I found a good mentor in the dating advice space. So I got more knowledge about personal development and learning the importance of improving yourself and working on yourself. So I had been doing that for about maybe 2 years, and then I started typing in how to make money online and stuff like that on YouTube, and researching all those things. And I felt committed to affiliate marketing in particular, right from the start, because I kind of felt that this was my opportunity, this was my thing. So it hasn't been any problem to stay committed and actually grind every single day. I'll be completely honest, I've spent about 12-hour days for months and months without getting the wins I wanted, because it's easy to set goals in the beginning. It's easy to have a vision, but when you don't achieve the goals right ahead, many people want the quick wins. As you say, it's not so nice to talk about the hard work that's involved in this. But I felt committed right ahead. I felt that mindset was a huge part of me already, and the self-improvement thing. So the technicalities and the details of marketing kind of just was a bonus for me to work on. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what are some of the things, and I think that's really powerful that you made the connection between the breakup and the work that you began to do, and how that overflowed into your business. So what if you could take us back to some of the things that you began to learn about yourself, or you realized that you needed to change coming out of that breakup, that have benefited you in your business? What would some of those things be?
I would say becoming a leader of yourself and holding yourself accountable, because it's so easy to put the blame on other people. And that's something I've learned from, having 2 breakups even in my 20s. So, it's easy to just say, she wasn't that good, and she wasn't that good, he wasn't that good. But the core of it, and the essential thing, is that what's bad about me, and what do I have to change to create better relationships in the future. So really just holding myself accountable, and becoming aware of what I'm doing. That's not as good for other people, and that's not good for me, because to be honest, I was a toxic person. Some might say, oh, he's such a nice guy and stuff like that. But I was a nice guy because I was toxic. It's not authentic. And I'm trying to work on, keeping things more simple, and trying to become more authentic and real, because that's what I love about you as well, and this community, because right after starting to look at your content and what kind of person you are, I felt the authenticity, and that's something I've heard lots of other students say as well. And just you being here, listening to people every day, you and Matt listening to me right now, you're a great listener. I just got to give you credit for that, because it's a trait, or whatever you want to call it, that's kind of rare in this society, just listening and looking for new perspectives, and trying to be as aware as possible.
Well, thank you. And I used to be a toxic person as well, so I can relate to that. And I didn't know it, and I had a hard time taking personal responsibility. And there's one of the best phrases or quotes that I ever heard about personal responsibility actually comes from a 12-step program. It says, through our inability to accept personal responsibility, we're actually creating our own problems. And that took me many years to understand, and I still have to keep it on the forefront of my mind in my marriage, in my business. So I can really relate to that. And I think it takes a big man, and sounds weird. I don't want to leave the ladies out, but to say a big woman, but you ladies know what I'm talking about, to own that your behavior, not you, because I think the difference between having some guilt, some healthy guilt, and toxic shame is that we sort of say that I am toxic. That would be more kind of shame, like deep rooted, whereas maybe more guilt, which is healthy. Hey, I feel guilty about what I did there. Is I have been toxic. My behavior was toxic in that relationship, and I've had very toxic behavior, whether it was, me being a perpetrator of manipulation, and we can manipulate in many different ways. Basically, the example you used was not accepting responsibility in relationships for your own shit, right? Because it's very easy during a breakup to say, she's crazy or he's crazy, right? It's not me. But it's very empowering to take ownership. And I can see now why that in business, how that is so connected to you launching and now moving towards being successful in your business. Because quite frankly, over the past 10 years, people's inability to take personal responsibility, not only in business, Johannes, but it's obviously, you gave the example of dating. It's like the number one reason why anything fails is because I didn't take responsibility for my own shit. I didn't take responsibility for my own behavior. So you mentioned 10, 12-hour days and all this kind of stuff. Talk to us a little bit about what the journey getting things launched. You launched, now obviously the title is Launching in a Thailand. And so tell us a little bit of the story of kind of how you discovered online marketing, where you were, what led you to legendary and affiliate marketing, and what the early stages of you launching has looked like.
Yeah, I was out traveling for a couple of months. I visited Bali, Malaysia, and Thailand, where I actually launched my business, as the title might say. I was traveling. I had I had stopped studying. I got my exam. I was studying at the Swedish university, social, to become a social worker. And after the exam, I kind of pivoted because I realized it wasn't something I really wanted to work with, because it kind of drained my soul. Kind of, I have never really resonated with a 9 to 5. With that being said, I can't recommend anyone this life. I can't recommend anyone this business, because some are happy with the 9 to 5 and some are happy with their lives. So with that being said, I felt like I needed something else after going with the narrative of study, get a 9 to 5, and have a big happy family. I don't know. Because the values in Sweden are kind of similar to the ones in USA. It's like keeping up with the Joneses, and in Sweden we value averageness kind of much, so you don't want to make millions and stuff like that, which is kind of interesting. So I never really had any dream to become a business owner and make millions of dollars or whatever, but I had to create an income some way. So when I was out traveling, I was starting to, research how to make money online, and looked for lots of different methods and hacks, and yeah, just cheap tricks, kind of. It felt like so. Anyways, I found affiliate marketing. I found lots of different business models, but I kind of felt that affiliate marketing is probably the most efficient, simple place to start, at least in my opinion. So I kind of committed kind of quick to affiliate marketing, and I went all in on just learning and kind of absorbing information about it. And after kind of short amount of time, I started implementing things and trying things, because that's how things happen. Many people actually just absorb information, and it's comfortable because you're just sitting and you don't have to do anything besides spending time listening to people. So I started implementing things, and I got some small wins. You have to look for maybe your first lead, maybe the first visit to your web page even, and the first commission is huge if you're doing affiliate marketing. And that took me 3 months, and that can take you a shorter amount of time, that can take people a longer amount of time, but it took me 3 months before seeing that first commission. So for me, it was like, is this actually even working, before I had my first commission? So I was kind of in the scam mentality, basically. But at the same time, I realized that if other people have done this before, I'm listening to people who's making 6, 7, 8 figures. I can do it. I just have to put in the work. I have to listen to these people, follow what they're teaching, and being on listening to your show, for an example, has been a huge part of my success, mostly in terms of mindset. Maybe just to get fed with positivity and be in this community is a huge part, because many people probably don't have the support they actually need in their friends, family, because most people don't understand what we're doing, and that's completely fine. But you have to stick with the people that know what they're doing, and listen to the people who know what they're talking about, because else people will come and give you advice that won't benefit you, because they don't know what they're talking about. So just being around, even if it's not physical for that matter, but just being around people like you and this community online is a huge part of my success right now, if I have to say success, but you probably get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, legendary marketer, I found it after some months, and I resonated with the authenticity and the honesty of your marketing, and as well with you. So your story is really admiring and cool. So
Well, thank you. And I when you were telling the story about, I was just typing in your I was just typing in your connect with him on Facebook and YouTube. So I was just typing in your contact info into the comments. So you took me back to the very beginning of my career, and for those of you who don't like have, or for those of you who don't realize how valuable the beginning of your journey is, I'd like to tell you this because, and I'd like to show you this because this has become sort of one of my most prized, I guess, not only possessions, but also it's become one of the things that I kind of show and use, of course, in marketing. You guys, if you look at any of my videos, sales videos, anything like that, and I'm telling my story, or if somebody becomes a client and I want to help them to like understand what the beginning looks like. Can you see my screen there? Yeah. So this is me 10 years ago, and these were my very first checks. And I was so proud. This was back when like pretty much like everything was issued through checks, and there was a lot more, a lot less of the kind of, everything wasn't as digital as it is now, though it was very digital. But anyways, I got checks, like everything came in a check. So those checks were really kind of important to me. They were physical. I could hold them in my hand. And of course, it was me, even though the first one was for $2.50, it certainly wasn't life-changing money, and it certainly wasn't, breaking even or whatever. But like, luckily I realized and I learned early on in my career, and yes, I did just call what we do a career. Oh my gosh, it's a career. You can make a career out of it. It's not just and it is what you say it is, right? So if you fall into the belief system, maybe that it's not a real career, or somebody's told you that, then that's what you believe. What you say is what it is. And I've chosen to treat it like a career. It's paid me like a career, and so I call it a career. But in the beginning of my career, I learned, thankfully, through just being totally immersed in personal development and business development and reading some of the books that also we recommend people read as well, that when I started learning about traditional business, it was 2, 3, 4 years, 5 years sometimes for a business to break even, for a restaurant, or for a any other business, even a construction company, to where I had to go out and buy tools and licenses and trucks and all this different kind of stuff, liability insurance for employees, and just all this different stuff. I realized, wow, I've paid for a couple of software tools and some education. I got off good here. Like, this is awesome. I can make money. Like you said, your first commission was 3 months. Like, imagine remember your previous going to college, and you were initially going to go for social work, and then you realized you didn't want to do that. But we're talking 2 to 4 years, sometimes longer, before you get that first paycheck. And here, within this line of work, this career, I can get on and start marketing products and services and start to earn money in the very early stages of my business. So it just kind of took me back to the beginning. And what I wanted to say before I get your thoughts is that so many people, Johannes, downplay and minimize the importance of the early parts of their business. of those early commissions, of those early stories. I remember the very first time that I showed up on the leads leaderboard for a company I was an affiliate of. I'd not even made any money, but I just started generating enough leads to show up on some recognition leaderboard. And my wife literally was in bed. She was my girlfriend then. And I got up out of bed, because back then I didn't have a cell phone that I could check stuff with, right? This was 10 years ago. I had a cell phone, but it wasn't an iPhone. I got up out of bed, snuck back up out of bed to go check the computer to go see if I had any notifications in my email, which I know none of us do, right? None of us refresh, right? So I snuck back out. Everybody was sleeping in the house. And all of a sudden, I saw my name on this recognition board. And I love this movie. It's an American movie called Rudy. And it's about this underdog football player who went to Notre Dame. And he finally, in the last game of the season, got called out for a play after he'd rode the bench the entire year. And he sacked the quarterback. And his buddy's up in the stands. And when he does that, his buddy goes, "Who's the wild man now?" And I can remember when I saw my name on that leaderboard, hadn't even made any money. It was just leads. I'm running around the house, waking everybody up in my underwear going, "Who's the wild man now?" You know, these are the early. This is early. I would have had no idea I'd be telling that story 10 years later as a way to communicate, to inspire. But anyways, what comes up for you as I'm sitting here, going back in history?
Yeah, I guess it's fun to talk about. What I thought of is, you mentioned software. You basically have to get like a couple of softwares maybe, and the price of that, it's not much compared to what investments you have to make in some other businesses. So, some tough love, because I think that some people might actually need to hear it or just get it reinforced, kind of, because the entitlement I see when people start out with online business, it doesn't have to be affiliate marketing, but the entitlement people, how entitled people are to not invest in a couple of softwares, that how entitled people are not to invest a couple of dollars into education that might actually transform their life. To me, it's kind of sad and it's kind of frustrating to see that. And to be honest, most people don't grow up. And that comes with having the accountability and taking responsibility for your life and your own actions. And to be fair, we're not taught how to become a leader of our own lives. We're not taught that, so you can't really blame people for being entitled and stuff like that. But with me saying this, and maybe you've heard it somewhere else as well, it's a small investment to make if you want to change your life. So yeah, that's it.
No, it is, and I don't know. It's interesting to see the reaction from people who and you used a pretty powerful word there, entitlement. It is weird how entitled we are as human beings to think that we're owed something, or if we part with some money that we are just entitled to. People, we have customers who come in, not many, but some who are just rude to customer service, or rude because they're entitled. And it's so interesting. I've never met a successful entitled person. Never in my life. Now, that doesn't mean they're not confident. Sometimes they're even arrogant, right? I mean, I've met confident or arrogant people, but but there's a difference between entitlement, because even the people that you look at, that you see, that you meet, who are successful, and maybe they're proud, or they're confident, or they're even arrogant, they know that nothing's owed to them. They know that they have to work hard, and they have worked hard for what they have. And if I have never, ever, and I think that's a big red flag. You mentioned some of the different people, that we run across online. If somebody's telling you or preaching to you that, or even playing you, like playing into that voice, like, oh, you're owed something, you're entitled to something, get what you're entitled to, like most likely a toxic person, or that's most likely as we call it, which I hate this word, but I will say it. That's a scam. That's a scam. That's the definition of a scam, to where somebody's not willing to tell you the truth and trying to make something something different than what it is. So let's anything that comes up for you, of course, based on what I just said, but I want to sort of bring the conversation in for a landing, and I want to get some of your sort of final thoughts. If there's so many people in different, they're all at kind of different places. There's a lot of people who are at different places in this community. We have people who watch this show who are, of course, who are further along in their journey, we'll say. And then we have a whole bunch of people who are new. Let's talk to the people for a second who are kind of maybe have had a wake-up call on this show and said, gosh, I've maybe had a hard time taking responsibility for my own results, or maybe I've had a little bit of entitlement, or in what you said has been very helpful. It's been helpful for me, and I know it's been helpful for others. What would you say to people who, what would be some of the if you could go back to yourself, or to people that you really care about and they're starting on this journey, what would you say to them if you only had a couple of sentences to use?
Probably how empowering it is to actually, take control of your own life. How, fulfilling it is to become aware of the person you can become, and the person that you actually are as well, because most people are so limited by what society tells them and what their environment tells them. So just being you and getting down to the core of you, we're basically all the same, and we all have that power inside of ourselves. And if you just get those kind of limiting beliefs off you for a second, you will realize how much power you actually have to change your life, and how much power you have to actually change others' lives as well, and how you actually can provide something and give something to this world, because life is a beautiful thing. And I believe that anyone can do this and make a good thing to help the world and to help other people. And I genuinely believe that you watching this can do it and achieve anything you want in your life. Just try to think about what you actually want in your life, and stay committed to it, and maybe pivot and change some things. But yeah, I don't know.
Sorry, I said that's powerful. And I really appreciate having you on and you sharing everything that you've shared this morning. I want to go ahead and put your your contact information. People can find you on Facebook and YouTube. Are you Johannes SK and then Johannes Freedom Hacking on YouTube?
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to get going with YouTube, and I'm not that active on Facebook, but you're free to become a friend and talk to me if you have any questions or something.
Sounds fantastic, man. We've been talking a lot about this week, connecting and just getting people in our corner, and having people become a part of our mastermind or our accountability group, or just learning from each other. And I just encourage each one of you guys, whenever somebody comes on the show or people are active in the comments, to connect with them. And then when you see them creating content and you see them marketing out there online, to support their content. That's one of the biggest benefits here, to support their content. Don't just be silent. Don't just be on the sidelines. Make connections. You don't even have to talk to people face to face, for God's sakes. So I mean, all of the social anxiety is not really a reason not to do it, because you don't even have to leave your house. You can just do it from your phone. But to connect with each other, and again, one of the most valuable things you guys will all get from this is each other. So, Johannes, it's been a pleasure, my brother. I really, really have enjoyed the conversation today, and I hope that you'll come back in a couple of months and update us on what you've been up to.
I'd love to. Thank you for having me, Dave, and thanks to anyone who's watched this.
All right, my brother. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you later.
See you.
All right. I'm going to jet, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day. And we'll meet you back here tomorrow. Get into the challenge, get into the blueprints, get into our community, commit, put some skin in the game. Uh, Make yourself accountable somehow to this business, to your future, and you'll be amazed by how much that changes the game for you, and takes things from treating it like a hobby to treating it like a career. All right. We'll talk to you later. See you tomorrow. Be well, be safe, be great, and be legend.